Hello, Beatles.
Hey, Bernie.
How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. This is the first time I've ever added anybody to this. This is really cool.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I'm going to go ahead and I don't have to mute YouTube. Nice.
I just got to mute YouTube. I always forget to do that.
Right. There's
Huh?
Dwayne.
Hello, Dwayne. How you doing? Okay. We're a little early, but we can start, I guess, huh? And talk about what we're going to do. I'm going to do the play-by-play, and you're going to be the color commentator if you could,
I'll do my best.
because you know more about dead ball than anybody on the planet.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that, but thank you.
Well, you know more than I do. I have to study for about a half an hour about the players and the game we're playing before I go on. But now I didn't have to do that because I know you're going to be able to comment about these players.
Yeah, we'll have some fun.
We are going to have a Beatles player of the game reading, however.
Oh, cool.
And the player I've chosen, and you can change it if you like, is the catcher for the White Sox, Ray Shock.
That sounds fine to me. Cracker. We will do Cracker Shock then. Yeah.
See,
Right.
you even know what his nickname is.
Sure do.
Before I
right.
started to play dead ball, I didn't even know he was a member of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
That shows you how bright I am.
You are bright. You just never got into that era of baseball before, but now you're damn good at it.
And I read all about this guy today. And he's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He still holds major league catching records.
Yep. Just like you have, well, of course, everybody knows Tris Speaker's great. He still holds major league records, like all-time records, 2 of them to be exact.
See, you're going to be really good. I can't wait to get this game started. So it's 7:30 in the West Coast, 10:30 in the East Coast, and I want to welcome everybody to my channel. This is Bernie Strom, joined by Beatles Eternally in the booth for the first ever 2-man booth on one of my broadcasts.
Privileged to be here, Bernie. Thanks.
I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a lot of fun. I haven't spent a lot of time going over this game because I've spent so much time staring at my roster for the new league we're all doing. It's all consuming.
It is.
Particularly since we want to beat MV.
Absolutely. So, Bernie, I was just thinking about this before you get the game started. Since you have all these baseball, all these sports sims, if you're the one that bests MV, we're gonna have to think of something else for you. So keep that in mind. Because I mean, getting you Action PC or Out of the Park or whatever, any of those games doesn't make any sense. You already have them. So we'll think of something else for you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You bet. There's Jamie's with us.
We've got 5 people in the ballpark. Hey, Jamie, how are you doing? Well, today we have the Chicago White Sox facing the Boston Red Sox from Fenway Park in Boston. It is July 8th, 1914. This is the first game of a doubleheader. And what is interesting about July 8th, it's only 3 days away from the major league debut of Babe Ruth.
Now, who's that? I never heard of him.
Me either. But I am going to broadcast at, I believe it's at 4:30 on Wednesday the 10th, that game, and you're going to miss it because you're going to be working. So I apologize, but that's the only time I could do it because I'm leaving to go to my granddaughter's birthday. She's going to be, how old is she going to be? She's going to be 7 years old.
So I'm gonna give you a little neat factoid about 1914 that maybe you don't know. As far as so American involvement wasn't official, of course, in the First World War until 1917. However, 1914, this is really cool. Baseball was used by American forces overseas. So we did have forces overseas, but not in the war, to boost morale. The American military created 77 baseball diamonds in France, and on any given day, some 200 games were played throughout the country. So I thought I'd throw that in since we are in actually a month away, roughly a month and a half away from the beginning of the First World War. So it began in August of 1914. So, but that's pretty cool that in 1914, that first year of the war, there were like 200 games being played in France every day. I think that's really cool.
That would beg the thought that why hasn't France developed a major league? You would think they had a head start.
They absolutely. So, and I also like the factoid because we think always about how baseball was introduced to Japan because it's become such a, it's huge. It's a religion in Japan. It really is. But actually, France had really the first taste when it came to baseball in a war. So pretty cool, huh?
That's very interesting. And once again, you proved why I want you on here, because we're going to learn lots of stuff tonight. Let's go down to this field and see what we've got going here at Fenway Park. Well, there's Fenway Park, 1914. And I'm going to go over the Chicago White Sox lineup for everybody who's just joined us. Chicago White Sox have batting first. Excuse me, I obviously pressed the wrong button. I'm going to switch over to my mouse here. You'll bear with me. Jay Berger at shortstop. And why am I keep hitting that button? I want to do that. Okay, Jay Berger at shortstop batting first. Lena, great first name. Blackburn at second base batting second. Ray Demet, left field batting third. Shano Collins, right field batting fourth. Jack Fournier at first batting fifth. Ping Bodie batting sixth and center. Our Beatles player of the game, Ray Schock, will do a reading about some interesting statistics about him as catcher. He's a Hall of Fame catcher, for those of you who don't know. The reason I say for those of you who don't know, because I didn't know before this year that he was a member of the Hall of Fame. David Lando stops by. Nice to see you, David. Third base, batting eighth, Jim Breton. And pitching, Reb Russell for the Chicago White Sox in 1914. In the replay, he's 6-11, 149 innings pitched at 2.65 ERA. For the Red Sox in the outfield, we have Duffy Lewis in left, Tris Speaker in center, Harry Hooper in right field. That is, they play 99% of the Red Sox games in the outfield. And so does the infield with Larry Gardner at third, Everett Scott at short, Steve Yerkes at second, Hal Janvin at first. The manager, here, let me move this so we can see him. Bill Kerrigan, the manager of the Red Sox, catching, and Dutch Leonard, who has a 1.16 ERA for the season. He's 13-3 with 147 innings pitched. What's funny about the 1.16 ERA, that is underperforming for what he did in real life. He still holds the record for the lowest ERA in the history of Major League Baseball. I got a question for you, Beatles. Maybe you can answer this.
Sure, I'll try.
I've read in different books different ERAs this guy has had. Do you have any idea why the numbers would be different depending on what source you look at?
I would have to research that. And offhand, I don't know the answer, unfortunately, why that would be. Because that's the same thing. It might be the same case as Old Hoss Radbourne, right? With that one win that was disputed. It was either 59 wins or 60. So it might have something to do with that, but I'm not sure.
Well,
that kind of thing. Oh yeah, agreed.
That kind of thing is what? I didn't hear.
Well, that it might have been. I'm sorry. So I don't know the answer offhand. I mean, I'll have to look it up and do some research, which doesn't help us tonight.
That's okay. We talk every day.
Right, absolutely. So I suspect, though, that it might be either some sort of dispute, as there was with that, the case with Old Hoss Radbourne, whether he had 59 or 60 wins. And so in some sources, you'll see it as 59. But Baseball Reference restored that 60th win. So it might be that it's also, it's been relatively recently that a lot of these stats from the dead ball era have become available too. So that might be there could be a number of things, but I'll definitely look into it.
Interesting question. Okay, Dutch Leonard is ready to throw the first pitch of the game to Joe Berger, who is batting .207, no home runs, 6 RBIs. And my favorite stat in dead ball baseball, he has 1 stolen base. Here we go. Leonard's into his windup. Here's the pitch. And he blows it by him, strike 3. And that's the way the Red Sox like to start the game, as they throw the ball around the infield. 1 away. Top of the first, Lena Blackburn, the second baseman, no home runs, 21 RBIs, a .235 average, and 4 stolen bases. There's not a lot of speed at the top of this White Sox lineup as Leonard's into his windup. Here's the pitch. And there's a fly ball into right field. Harry Hooper waiting for it to come down. And he puts it away. 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the first. Ray Demmett, left fielder, 1 home run, 23 RBIs, .236 batter. And we're getting up in those stolen bases. He's got 5. Leonard has his sign.
Well, after this, you're going to get a factoid.
Okay, well, you got time because Demmett's on his way to first base, ball 4.
So we have Lena Blackburn in the game, and I knew that the name was ringing a bell. So I'm like, there's a reason why Blackburn is important to baseball. So just quickly, this will be a tiny, I'm just going to do just a paragraph. And I'm thinking, why? Well, this is it. So here you go, guys. Great trivia here. I should have saved this for a trivia question. In baseball, Lena Blackburn's name is Mud, but in his case, it's a compliment. It is to Blackburn that umpires owe their thanks for the fact that new baseballs do not unduly shine. Blackburn, a former Major League infielder, coach, and manager, discovered near his home in the Delaware Valley a special type of mud that removes gloss from new baseballs without disfiguring or discoloring them. To this day, umpires use this mud to rub on baseballs before games. So there you go. That's kind of a cool little factoid. So Lena Blackburn, and everybody knows this, that mud comes from that area of the Chesapeake Bay. That for every Major League Baseball that the umpires rub up before the game comes from that mud in that part of Delaware, and it's thanks to Lena Blackburn. So there we go. Did I earn my pay for the night? Thank you.
You did, at least in the first inning.
All right, that's something.
As Shano Collins steps in, batting .292, home run, 35 RBIs, and we finally have a base stealer. He has 22 stolen bases. Leonard checks Demmett at first. He's into his windup. And that ball's in front of the mound. Catcher to first for the out at the end of 1/2 an inning. There's no score.
So you thought Alabama was famous for their mud, Dwayne. Well, there you go. For a baseball fan, it's the mud in the Chesapeake area.
I don't know if I said hello to David Zielinski, but nice to see you, David. If I did, I'm saying it again.
Hey,
Thank
David.
you for coming by. Okay, we go to the bottom of the first inning. In the outfield for the White Sox, we have Demmett, Bodie, and Collins left to right. Breton, Berger, Blackburn of the Mud fame. Fournier at first. Schock, our player of the game, which I've got some information on. We'll read it later. Russell pitching. Harry Hooper, 1 home run, 23 RBIs, batting .258, 5 stolen bases. And here's Russell's first pitch. And it's a pop-up in the infield. Larry Gardner waiting for it to come down. It is way up there. He puts it away for the out, 1 down, bottom of the first. Everett Scott batting .217. In real life, the Red Sox are in the midst of a 5-game losing streak. They lost this game in real life. It's a doubleheader. The first game was a doubleheader, and they lost both games in real life. In some small measure, we're going to try to change this day in history. Scott, 1 home run, 11 runs batted in. 217. 7 stolen bases. Here's Russell's pitch. Scott hits a line drive into right field, and he makes the catch for the out. Collins with a great catch there in right field. 2 away, bottom of the first. Tris Speaker, Hall of Famer Tris Speaker, leads the Red Sox in almost every offensive category. And as Beatles mentioned before the game got going, he still holds a couple of major league records over 100 years later.
And one of them you would have thought would have been broken after all those years, but hasn't. So Tris Speaker is the all-time leader in doubles in Major League Baseball. He's also the only Major League Baseball player to have in one single season 3 different 20-plus game hitting streaks. He's the only one. So legally, but you would think the doubles, right? I mean, because Sam Crawford's all-time triples, that's never going to be broken. But doubles a far more common hit, and yet Speaker is still the all-time leader in doubles.
Well, it's safe to say that probably will never get broken. As Lord Judgment 1818 comes in, thank you for coming by and watching Late Night Baseball with us.
I like the nickname.
Me too. Okay, here we go. Russell has his sign, and here's his pitch to Speaker. It's a bounding ball to second. Over to first for the out. 3 up, 3 down, bottom of the first. We go to the top of the second. No score.
So go ahead. Oh, no, go ahead, Bernie. Then I've got some color here for Jacques Fournier.
Well, I'm glad the way you say it, because I say it Jack Fournier, so I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, he's the 5th batter in the lineup, followed by Bodie, number 6, Shock, number 7. If one of those guys gets on, the third baseman, Breton, will be up next. All yours, Beatles.
All right, so Fournier, this is something, in the dead ball era, there's a misconception that these were light hitters. They weren't. These guys weren't light hitters. It was just, the home run wasn't the big strategy thing, but there were power hitters in the dead ball era. Lajoie had power. Gavy Kravitz was the dead ball leader in home runs. You had, of course, the aforementioned Sam Crawford. But Jacques Fournier, there we go, known for his bat. Jacques Fournier led the American League in slugging percentage in 1915 and the National League in homers in 1924. So here's a player who had a great bat in the dead ball era and the so-called modern era. But his best day came on June 29th, 1923, when the lefty hitting first baseman went 6 for 6 with 2 doubles and a home run. So just wanted to put that little fact in there for Fournier.
Well, he's obviously best hitter on the team because he steps in batting .337. 5 home runs, which is tied for the American League lead, 15 RBIs. But he doesn't appear to be that speedy. There's only 3 stolen bases. Leonard's lefty into his windup. And right on cue, he hits a line drive down the left field line, and that hits the chalk, goes all the way to the wall. Lewis picks it up. He's going to throw it in, but that ball is going to be way late as Fournier stands on second base with a double.
136 lifetime homers for Fournier. Not bad.
Not in those days, it isn't. It would be pretty good today, too. Ping Bodie steps in, runner in scoring position. Nobody out, top of the 6th. 1 home run, 25 runs batted in. .238 average. 13 stolen bases. Leonard checks the runner. Here's the pitch, and right on cue, we have a sacrifice attempt. Yerke's got it for the out. Successful sacrifice. Fournier goes to third. 1 out. He can score any number of ways. As Ray Schock steps in, no home runs, 18 runs batted in, a .317 average. 9 stolen bases, which I do know this. 2 years from now, in 1916, Ray Schock will set the Major League record for a catcher with 30 stolen bases, and that record lasted for over a half a century before it was broken.
Mm-hmm. Well done.
Leonard looks in at Schock, checks the runner. Here's the pitch. And there's a ground ball to third. Gardner up with it. Over to first. Run scores. White Sox have 1-0 lead. 2 down here in the top of the second. Jim Breton, no home runs, 4 RBIs. A part-time player, has only had 66 at-bats halfway through the season. He has 1 stolen base. Here's the pitch. Another ground ball to third, over to first. Innings over at the end of 1.5. White Sox lead 1-0.
I wanted to make a comment too, just something else about dead ball. We were doing a game there. I don't know if it was your channel or over my channel or what have you. And it was a high-scoring game, and somebody had mentioned, "Oh yeah, they're playing dead ball my ass." Actually, there were a lot of high-scoring games in dead ball. So there's another misconception that dead ball games are all very low-scoring. It wasn't that. They played a lot of station-to-station baseball, but it was not commonplace. But there were games. It wasn't a rarity in dead ball to see high-scoring games. I just wanted to throw that in.
I would imagine some of that had to do with all the errors.
Right, and again, as the dead ball era moved through, baseball, you started to see better gloves. That by the time once you got to the 1919, we'll just say the 1919 White Sox, right? You see error rates, pretty much declining. And again, newspapers, sports pages of the day, it was a big deal if there was an errorless game. So yeah, the errors were all over the place. I mean, these guys, the gloves they wore were probably maybe a little larger than driving gloves. You can see pictures of them. You look at Hannes Wagner's glove; they would actually cut a hole in the palm of the glove. So imagine that, a ball, even in the dead ball era, coming off there at pretty good speed, that's going to sting a little. But those guys didn't care.
I could imagine that's the only way they probably could catch the ball. It would hit the glove and fall out if that wasn't the case.
Well, right. And you got to remember too, and then I'll shut up for now, is that the catcher's glove back then, right, it didn't close. So if you watch films of, even into the 20s, 30s, whatever, 40s, the catcher's kind of trapping the ball more with his hand in the glove, right? So that closing catcher's glove didn't even exist in the dead ball era. It was that big sort of mitt thingy that
interesting.
That classical image of the catcher's mitt, that was what was used.
And today these one-handed catcher mitts.
So imagine catching somebody like Smokey Joe Wood or Walter Johnson, fireballers of the day, because your throwing hand was involved in that catch. Each time those guys uncorked one. Yikes.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Here we go, bottom of the second. Duffy Lewis, Hal Janvrin, Larry Gardner due up, 4, 5, and 6 batters. Russell gets his sign. Here's the pitch. There's a pop-up into foul territory. He drops the ball. I can't believe it. That's the first time I've seen a foul pop-up dropped. Unbelievable. They're almost caught 100% of the time.
Yeah, that is a rarity.
And Lewis steps back into the box. He's got a second life. Let's see if Russell is going to be upset with Breton at third here as he's into his windup. And there's a ground ball to third base. Picks it up, throws to first,
Whoa.
But it is way late. That ball was not hit hard enough for him to make that play, and we have a runner on first based on the error. So I'm guessing Russell isn't very happy right now as he checks Lewis at first.
See if that error comes back to bite the White Sox, huh?
Janvrin, no home runs, 13 runs batted in, 288 average. 20 stolen bases. The middle of this Red Sox order has 60 stolen bases among the 3 players halfway through the season. Dead ball baseball with nobody out would indicate Lewis is going to try to steal or Janvrin's going to try to bunt. Let's see what happens.
There you go, Bernie. You called it. And he's safe.
He beat that by a mile. And the Red Sox have a runner in scoring position. The tying run at second. Janvrin now has a chance to knock him in. Russell glances back. Here's his pitch. There's the bunt.
Doing what he's supposed to do.
He is out at first. Lewis goes to third. 90 feet away from tying the game for Larry Gardner. 2 home runs, 32 runs batted in, a .222 average, 18 stolen bases. I looked at a 1914 sports page recently looking for league leaders. And the only statistics they printed in 1914 were runs scored and stolen bases.
Mm-hmm. Made sense.
They could care less about anything else.
Didn't matter.
Russell glances at Lewis. Here's the pitch. And there's a bounding ball to first. It's in the right field. Rounding first is Gardner. He's going to pull up to second with a standout double. And the game's all tied here in the second inning.
Gardner, a solid player for these Red Sox.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a real expert, but this is towards the end of Gardner's career, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a solid player, forgotten to history, but yeah,
he played a long time. Steve Yerkes, who's batting 191, 2 home runs, 32 RBIs. In real life, on July 8th, 1914, he went 3 for 4 in the Red Sox loss. Let's see if he can match that now. Gardner at second. Here's the pitch by Russell. Gardner's going to third. There's the throw, and he's safe.
I will say it again, Bernie, that if for anybody that wants to sim dead ball baseball, out of the park baseball is the game to do it. No other game does it the way this does, right out of the rip. It's amazing.
As soon as a guy gets on, there's stolen bases and bunts. It's the essence of the game.
Yes, it is. They captured it really well. And most people don't play dead ball, and it's this great feature of out of the park baseball that most people are not going to get to experience because they don't play this era.
That's true. William Buckshot stops in. Nice.
Hey, Buckshot.
Thanks for coming by. Go ahead, run at third. Russell glances over. He's into his windup. There it is. There's the bunt. There's the score. Throw home. Red Sox are in great shape as that suicide squeeze, or let's see what it says up here. Doesn't say suicide squeeze. It might have been a safety squeeze, but it sure looked like a suicide squeeze to me as the runner reaches first. Red Sox lead 2-1. Yerkes at first. Kerrigan, the manager, up. .214 hitter, no home runs, 11 runs batted in. Kerrigan is almost the full-time catcher this year. He plays about half the time.
And he and Tris Speaker hated each other.
As a matter of fact, he is probably one of the catalysts that got Tris Speaker traded from the Red Sox, along with Tris Speaker's arguing for a new contract with the owner of the team.
I wouldn't be surprised. The enmity between Kerrigan and Speaker was well known in those days. They hated each other.
Yerkes takes his lead. Russell is into his windup. Here's the pitch. Grounded is short over to third base, over to second for one, back to first, a 5-4-3 double play to end the inning. At the end of 2, Red Sox lead 2-1.
Buckshot says he's doing 1904 in Out of the Park. Awesome. Ken Castro's here.
Ken Castro, thank you for coming by. Appreciate the compliment. And Big Clue comes in. Thank you all for stopping by. I guess no one has anything to do on the East Coast late at night. Here we go. Top of the third. Russell, the pitcher, followed by the top of the order, Berger and Blackburn. Leonard's into his windup. And there's a fly ball in the center field. Speaker coming in. He's going to put it away for the out. 1 up, 1 down, top of the third. Berger 0 for 1 on the day, 203 hitter. Leonard gets his sign from Kerrigan. Here's the pitch. And it's a called strike 3.
One thing I'd love for Out of the Park to do, and I doubt that they will, is in those days the catcher didn't squat down. He was basically knee slightly bent at most. It was very, very rare that they would actually squat down. But I know that they're not going to get to that level of detail. But it'd be fun to see the catcher kind of just standing behind home plate, and the strike zone back then it literally was like shoulders to knees. So it was a bigger strike zone too. So you had to hit in dead ball.
Do you know if they threw the ball around the infield after a strikeout?
I'm glad Ken Castro's in here because he might know where throwing around the horn when that started. That I don't know.
Gary Sorrell stops by. Thank you, Gary, for coming by. Nice to see you. Dutch Leonard is now going to face Blackburn, who's 0 for 1, 234 hitter. 2 down. Here's the pitch. And there's a line drive in the right field. That's going to drop in front of Hooper for a hit. Blackburn rounds first. Goes back to the bag. Both teams now have 2 hits. Ray Demmett stepping in, 236 hitter. Blackburn takes his lead. There's a fly ball in the center field. Almost in his place, Speaker puts it away to end the inning at the end of 2.5, 2-1 Boston. Here we go, bottom of the second inning. Leonard, the pitcher, followed by Hooper at the top of the order, and Everett Scott. Dutch Leonard hitting .216, 11 hits, 51 at bats, and a rarity for a pitcher in dead ball era. He's got a home run. Russell's into his windup. Leonard swings. That's a pop-up. It's in the infield. First baseman, second baseman converging. The first baseman calls it. He's got it for the out. Fournier throws back to Russell. 1 down here in the bottom of the third inning. Harry Hooper 0 for 1, 257 on the season. Harry Hooper is a Hall of Fame right fielder for the Red Sox. And here's the pitch. And there's a blooper in the center field. That's going to drop in front of the center fielder for a hit. Hooper's on. 1 down, runner on first base. Everett Scott stepping up. .216 hitter, 0 for 1 on the day. Russell checks Hooper at first. He's into his windup. And there's a fly ball in the right field. And he's going to be out as Collins throws it into Blackburn. Excuse me. Hooper remains at first base, 2 away. Tris Speaker, 4 home runs, 37 runs batted in, 307. Here's the pitch. Ball 4, and Tris Speaker walks again like many smart pitchers. Russell didn't want any part of Tris Speaker as Duffy Lewis steps in. He's 1 for 1 on the day, 261 on the season. Runners on first and second. Speaker's got speed, so anything in the alley, Speaker will probably score. Here's the windup by Russell. There's a fly ball in the left field. He's got it for the out. And the inning's over at the end of 3, 2-1 Boston. It was showmanship, Ken says. Anyway, We go to the top of the fourth inning. Dutch Leonard, after 3 innings, allowed 2 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 2, walked 1. He will face the heart of the White Sox order, Collins, Fournier, and Bodie. Collins 0 for 1, 291. Leonard's pitch. And there's a bunt attempt for a hit. Kerrigan jumps in front of the plate. He's going to throw to first. That's going to be a base hit. Shane Collins singles. The bunt variety. Dead ball baseball at its best. Jack Fournier stepping in, batting .345. He's tied for the American League in home runs. It'll be interesting to see if he's going to sacrifice bunt. When was the last time you saw a home run leader in a league, either the American League or the National League, sacrifice bunt? Leonard checks Collins. Here's the pitch. You're not going to see him bunt. They're going to send the runner, and he's out by a mile. 1 down now, nobody on for the number 5 hitter.
Always loved the story that John McGraw once fined a player for hitting a home run.
I never heard that story.
Yeah, he signaled bunt, and the guy swung away, hit a home run, and McGraw fined him $500. He said, "When I call bunt, you bunt." I mean, the Giants end up winning the game anyhow, but yep. So
I love that story.
I wouldn't have been surprised actually had they had Fournier bunting, because when you had somebody on base, frequently the role of that next batter was called the sacrificer.
Well, now they still have a runner on first base because he walked.
Mm-hmm.
Bodie, who has no official at-bats today's game, 238 hitter, stepping in. Leonard checks the runner at first. Here's the pitch. That is a line drive in the left field. That drops in front of Lewis. That's a base hit. The runner holds. That ball was hit so hard he could only advance 1 base. Runners on first and second. Tying run in scoring position for Ray Schock, the catcher. Batting .316, 0 for 1 on the day. 1 out. Leonard checks the runners. He's into his windup. There's a ground ball to third. Gardner to second for 1. Over to first. Inning-ending double play for the second inning in a row as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. 2-1 Boston. Janvin, Gardner, and Yerkes due up. 5, 6, and 7 batters. Janvin, who has no official at-bats today, is a .288 hitter for the 1914 season. Here's the pitch. There's a bunt attempt. He's bunting for a signal. The third baseman's up with it. Throws to first. It's in the dirt. Gets away from the first baseman. Runner is safe. And the official scorer gives the error to the third baseman on the throw. Second error of the night, or the day, excuse me, for the White Sox.
You got Mike Silva and Brian Huxley here.
Thank you guys for coming in. Good crowd late at night. Janvin at first on the error. I believe that's the second time he's been on an error today. Russell throws from the left side. Will pitch to Gardner, who's a left-handed batter. 1 for 1 on the day. .225 hitter. Russell checks the runner. He's pitches. There's a shallow pop-up in the foul territory. Third baseman's got it. 1 down. Brenton throws it back to the pitcher. Janvin still at first. Yerkes stepping in, hitting .191. Here's the pitch. There goes the runner. They're going to have to wait for him. Why did he slide? He's out. I would have turned around and walked back to the dugout before I even got to second.
Nice.
Yerkes now has nobody on, 2 outs. Here's Russell's pitch. There's a line drive into right center field. That ball's down.
Oh, that caught stealing
gap.
hurts now on that, huh?
That's a stand-up something. That's a double. I thought he was going to third there for a second. There's a stand-up double. His 14th of the season. Red Sox lead 2-1. It should be 3-1. Russell has Yerkes at second. Kerrigan, the manager who called for that steal of second base, could make up for it with a base hit here. He's 0 for 1, 212 on the season. Yerkes takes his lead. Russell glances back. He's into his windup. And there's a line drive into the gap. That ball's down. That ball's rolling all the way to the wall. Center fielder picks it up. Throws the ball in. Kerrigan into second with a stand-up double. Second stand-up double in a row. Red Sox now lead 3-1, and Kerrigan redeems himself. Red Sox have 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors so far. White Sox won 4-2 as Dutch Leonard, the pitcher, steps to the plate, batting from the left side, 0 for 1. Dutch Leonard with a 1.1 ERA. 3 runs may be enough for him. You never know. Russell checks Kerrigan. Here's the pitch. There's a fly ball to center field. Backing up to center field, it puts it away for the out. We go to the top of the 5th. 3-1 Boston. Bodie made that play. Leonard rubbing up the baseball. Brenton Russell and the top of the order due up here in the 5th inning. Brenton 0 for 1, hitting a meager 179. Leonard's into his windup. And Brenton must have heard me because he just hit a line drive into center field. That's going to drop in front of Speaker. And that's a base hit. Runner on first. The pitcher, Russell, steps in. Russell, one of the better hitters, it looks like to me, on the White Sox. A 283 hitter, 13 hits, 46 at-bats. Will they have him bunt? Let's find out. Leonard's into his windup. Here's the pitch. Jansen's up with it over to Yerkes for the out. Runner to second. 1 down. Brenton in scoring position for the top of the order. The shortstop Berger, who's 0 for 2, hitting an even 200 on the season. Leonard looks back at Brenton. Looks in, gets his sign from Kerrigan. Here's the pitch. And there's a line drive in the left field that's going to drop in. Lewis is going to pick it up. Are we going to have a play at the plate? We are not. The White Sox hold the runner at third. 1 out, runners on first and third. There's a rally going for the White Sox. The White Sox now have 6 hits. They've out-hit the Red Sox 6-5. However, they're behind where it counts in runs, 3-1. Leonard checks both runners, gets his sign from Kerrigan. Blackburn stepping in. Here's Leonard's pitch, and he strikes out swinging for out number 2. Well, that helps the Red Sox a little bit. They're going to need a hit or an error to score the second run of the game. A sacrifice fly will no longer do that. Berger takes his lead. Brenton takes his lead. Leonard gets his sign. Here's the pitch. And there is a base hit. Just Speaker picks the ball up. He throws home. That ball's cut off. Runners again on first and third as Demet has an RBI single. And this game tightens up 3-2. 7th hit of the day for the White Sox. Leonard is now allowed 2 earned runs, and his ERA is certainly going to increase after today's game. Demet at first, Berger at third. Shane Collins, 293 hitter, stepping to the plate. Leonard's into his windup. There's a ground ball to short. Over to second. They got him for the out. The inning is over. The Red Sox escape with a 3-2 lead as we go to the bottom of the fifth. Russell now pitching into the fifth inning. In the 4 innings he's pitched, he's allowed 5 hits, 1 earned run. He's walked 1, struck out nobody. Harry Hooper, the top of the order, due up, hitting .260, 1 for 2 on the day. Russell's into his windup. Here's the pitch. That's ball 4. The Red Sox have the leadoff runner on here in the bottom of the fifth.
Legends coming in and saying hello at the ballpark.
Thank you for stopping by. Good evening, Legends. Nice to see you. Russell to pitch to Scott. Hooper takes his lead. Scott 0 for 2 on the day, average at .216. Here's the pitch. Scott does what he does best. He bunts. That ball's picked up by the pitcher, throws to the first baseman for the out. Hooper goes to second. Russell made a good play. Red Sox now have an insurance run sitting on second base with only 1 away. And Tris Speaker up. I can't tell you how many times I've watched Tris Speaker walk with first base open and a runner in scoring position. Let's see what Russell does with him. He checks Hooper at second, and he's into his windup. And there is a line drive deep into left center field. That ball is off the wall, picked up on a bounce. Runner's going to score. Speaker's going to be standing on second base. And it's now 4-2, and Russell should have been listening to the broadcast of the game. He should have watched Speaker. Speaker with one of those doubles that Beatles told us about. Speaker is still the major league leader in doubles 100 years after he retired. Duffy Lewis, the left fielder, stepping in. The only member of this $1 million outfield not to be a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame. No home runs, 29 runs batted in, .260 average. 1 for 2 on the day. Speaker takes his lead. Here's Russell's pitch. There's a ground ball in the hole. Shortstop has it, picks it up. He throws to first, and he's got him. He's out. That's a great play. That's such a great play. We're going to watch it again.
Close play.
Here we go. Janvrin up 0 for 1. The organist is trying to get the crowd going with 2 outs, runner on third. Russell's into his windup. Here's the pitch, and there's a fly ball in the right field. That is going to be an out. The inning is over. We go to the top of the 6th. Red Sox 4-6-0. White Sox 2-7-2. Top of the 6th, middle of the order again. Fournier, Bodie, and Schock due up. Fournier, .345 hitter, 1 for 1 on the day. Leonard trying to keep his ERA in the neighborhood of 1.24. Here's the pitch. Line drive in the left field. Fournier is going to get his second hit of the day as it drops in front of Lewis. Lead runner on for the White Sox. Bodie. Ping is 1 for 1, also batting .242. Fournier has 3 stolen bases on the year. He's not much of a stolen base threat. So either Bodie is going to bunt or he's going to swing away. I bet he's going to bunt. He's not going to bunt. That's why the runner shouldn't have went to second. He's out by 40 feet. Well, the manager sends him even if he isn't fast, huh, Beatles?
Yeah. Again, it's that station-to-station baseball, emblematic of dead ball. So you're going to send him. And Ping Bodie was actually known as a skillful bunter, too. So that time, I guess he didn't get one he could put down.
Who knows? Leonard is now a happier man with one out, nobody on to pitch to Bodie. He's into his windup. Here's the pitch. There is a ground ball. Janvin picks it up. He's going to flip it to Leonard for the out. 2 down here in the top of the 6th inning is Schock stepping in. I guess at this time, I'm going to give you a little information about Ray Schock. This is what I like to refer to as my Beatles player of the game.
There you go.
I try to pick a player, Beatles, that I know nothing about, because if I don't know anything about it, I'm guessing maybe someone else doesn't know anything about it. We're going to go. His story is a little too long to read here on the air, but I'm going to go over his career statistics and his legacy in baseball. In an 18-year major league career, Schock played in 1,762 games, accumulating 1,345 hits, 5,306 at-bats, a 253 career batting average, 11 home runs, with 594 runs batted in and 579 runs scored, and an incredible 177 stolen bases for a catcher. He established himself as the American League's outstanding defensive catcher by leading the American League catchers in fielding percentage 8 times, putouts 9 times, double plays 4 times, and assists twice. He set a major league catching record for putouts and still holds the major league career record for double plays with 217. It's pretty unusual today to hold a record over 100 years old in baseball, and he's got one.
I think it's also important to note about Ray Schock. He was fast. He was a base stealer. We don't think of catchers as base stealers. Schock was fast.
And we're going to get to a little later here in this, but he had 30 stolen bases in 1916, and that record held until the 1980s. No catcher has approached Schock's record for career double plays, and none has led the league in fielding percentage 8 times. He held the record for the most no-hitters caught, 4, until a rules change in the early 1990s disallowed one of them. Schock's 51% career caught stealing percentage ranks 8th all-time among Major League catchers. Can you imagine? 8th all-time, all the people that have caught in Major League Baseball. He's caught 144 shutouts in his career, ranking 3rd all-time behind Yogi Berra and Carlton Fisk. He set the standard for longevity, catching 100 or more games in 11 straight seasons. His major league record of 1,726 games caught stood until 1945 and was broken by Rick Ferrell.
Another Hall of Famer.
Those 30 stolen bases he had in 1916 stood until John Wathen stole 36 bases in 1982. Schock helped revolutionize the way catcher's position was played. He is credited with being the first catcher to back up infield throws to first base and outfield throws to third base. He claimed to be the only major league catcher to have made a putout at every base. I find that interesting. And once made 3 assists in 1 inning. He also became known for his handling of the pitching staff of the White Sox. His reputation as a defensive standout is enhanced due to the subsequently given the large number of bunts and stolen base attempts in this era. He was the man that was able to deal with them all. He also had to handle spitball pitchers. He also had to handle pitchers, shine balls, knuckleballs, emery balls, and he did them all. Shock's career batting average of 253. This is a record that will probably stand forever also, is the lowest of any position player in the Hall of Fame.
But yet there are some people that argue that Schalk doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, and he definitely does. Just what he did defensively, just and the fact that, again, maybe another night or maybe I'll feature him on my channel, the write up on him in this baseball, the biographical encyclopedia, is really, really good and sheds more light. And I've always felt that he's maybe not that inner circle Hall of Famer, but he definitely deserves to be in Cooperstown. And I'm glad he is.
There's a lot of talk about people who should be in the Hall of Fame who aren't in the Hall of Fame. But I'm going to tell you, if you're elected to the Hall of Fame, you belong there. And that includes Harold Baines, I know. Anyway, to end this, and we'll get back to the game here, he was enshrined in the Hall of Fame in 1955 by the Veterans Committee. And I think that's it. He's also known for being one of the players who did not accept any money for the 1919 Black Sox scandal. And here we go. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th inning. With no further ado, here's the pitch by Leonard. And right on cue, he strikes out swinging to end the inning as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Boston leads 4-2.
Agree completely, Buckshot, on Shoeless Joe Jackson. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Period. No argument.
Don't you think Shoeless Joe Jackson's play during the World Series speaks for itself?
So that's an interesting point that you bring up, because offensively, yes. Now, what historians have talked about, though, is his defensive play. And so we've talked about this before. I know when I've done some broadcasts that Huey Fullerton had asked Christy Mathewson to also keep score during the World Series. Fullerton had gotten wind that maybe things weren't exactly on the level for the 1919 series. And so they weren't sitting near one another. And Mathewson and Fullerton were catching plays that they thought were suspect. And so it was in the outfield that Joe Jackson wasn't getting to balls that he normally would get, or let a couple kind of fall down in front of him. So there's kind of that thing. But my contention is, offensively, he hit 374 in the series, 1 or 2 home runs. I can't remember exactly what it was. But when you look at his career, I think, you could put on his plaque that he was, he was banned from baseball as being one of the Black Sox. But, the 3rd highest batting average in history. He was a 5-tool player, and I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. And I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame too. But I think Shoeless Joe first.
There is talk that both Tris Speaker, who's playing today, and Ty Cobb had to retire because they were about to be exposed for their part in throwing games.
Well, absolutely. And so Kennesaw Mountain Landis, knowing that and realizing that 2 of the most popular, greatest players of that time would have been exposed. Yeah, so the retirement was kind of just get out of baseball. And so Ty Cobb and Tris Speaker retired, I think, in the same year, actually.
They certainly did. We'll get to that later. But right now, Larry Gardner, Steve Yerkes, and Bill Kerrigan will face Russell, who's pitching a really good game. 5 innings, 6 hits, only 2 earned runs of the 4 that have scored. He's into his windup. Here's the pitch to Gardner. And there is a ground ball. It is hit right to the right of the pitcher, but he has no chance of throwing him out. That's a base hit. Red Sox have Gardner on first with a little dribbler in front of the mound. Steve Yerkes, the second baseman, batting 195. Gardner's got 19 stolen bases. Yerkes is 1 for 1. I'm not managing this team because I tend not to manage when I do broadcasts. I do manage when I'm offline. However, I'm not sure if I'd have Gardner steal or Yerkes bunt. Let's find out what happens. Here's the pitch. There you go. He's safe. Gardner at second base with his 20th stolen base of the season. That 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Red Sox now have 63 stolen bases halfway through the season. Gardner at second. Yerkes, is he going to bunt him to third? Let's see what happens. Here's the pitch by Russell. That's exactly what he's going to do. He lays down the perfect bunt, drawing in the third baseman. He's even going to beat it out. He's safe. That's a base hit. The Red Sox tie up the White Sox in hits at 8 apiece. First and third, nobody out. Red Sox have a 2-run lead. Bill Kerrigan stepping in. They could, with a base hit here, they can put a little room in between them and the White Sox. Here's the pitch. Well, that was the pitch, but nothing happened. Here's the windup. There's a line drive into left field. Left fielder backing up. He's going to put it. Oh, no, he dropped the ball. The runner is going to score. What happened here? I'm going to have to read this. Kerrigan hit a run-scoring double his last time up. This time he didn't. Okay, I got you. It's a fly ball to left field. The runner scored on a sacrifice fly. I wasn't reading that. I was trying to make the call from what I saw on the screen. So we're going to move right on to Yerkes at first. Leonard stepping in. 0 for 2. You'll have to forgive me for that botch play, but that's what happens every now and then in live broadcasts. Yerkes at first, 1 away. Red Sox leading 5-2. Russell checks Yerkes at first. Here's the pitch to Leonard, and there's a bunt. That's in the air. He's got it for the out. Well, an unsuccessful sacrifice attempt leaves Yerkes at first. 2 away now, as Russell, who was in big trouble before, is in much better shape now with 2 outs and a runner on first. However, Harry Hooper, by this little flame next to his name, is hot, batting .260. 1 for 2 on the day. Yerkes at first. Russell checks on him. He's into his windup. Here's the pitch. Fly ball in the center field. Backing up is the center fielder who puts it away for the out. We go to the top of the 7th. Red Sox pick up another run. They're ahead 5-2. Here in the top of the 7th, bottom of the order, third baseman Breton, followed by the pitcher Russell. Top of the order, Berger, the shortstop, due up. Breton 1 for 2 today. Leonard's into his windup. Here's the pitch. And there's another fly ball to center field. Speaker right in his spots, coming in a couple of steps, puts it away, 1 up, 1 down. Reb Russell, .312 on-base percentage, .283 average. One of their better hitters will face Leonard as he winds and fires. And there's a fly ball deep in the center field. That is way over Speaker's head. That ball is into the triangle in center field. Rounding second is Russell. He's going to hold. I don't know why he's holding, because that ball's not coming in. But let's take a look at that on the replay. No wonder the ball didn't come back. It went through the wall. Okay. Whoever said OOTP was perfect. Russell on second. Berger at the plate, 1 for 3 on the day. He's got a chance to get the White Sox a little closer here. 1 down. Leonard checks Russell. Gets his sign from Kerrigan. He's into his windup. And there's ball 4. Leonard talking to himself on the mound. He's pitched 6 in the third innings, allowed 9 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 4, walked 3. Blackburn at 236 hitters, 1 for 3 today. He's got a chance to put the White Sox a little closer. Leonard checks both runners, gets his sign. Here's the pitch. There's a fly ball in the right center field. Tris Speaker playing perfectly for him, puts the ball away, throws the ball in. No one can advance. And now there's 2 outs. Runners still on first and second. Ray Demmett, 1 for 2, 238 on the season. Demmett stepping in from the left side will face the left-handed pitcher Leonard. Checks Russell at second. Berger at first. He's into the windup. And there's a ground ball to short. Scott over to first for the out. Still my favorite song of all time as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Line score so far, Boston 5-8-0. White Sox 2-9-2. Everett Scott, Tris Speaker, Duffy Lewis due up. Scott 0 for 2 on the day. Russell pitching a good game. He's into his windup. Here's the pitch. Ground ball back to the mound. He's up with it. He throws to first for the out. 1 down, bottom of the 7th. There's Tris Speaker, who's 1 for 2, stepping in, hitting 309. Speaker, one of the better base stealers. I keep saying that the 4, 5, and 6 hitters have 60 stolen bases. Well, if you add Speaker to that list, those 4 players have 80 stolen bases halfway through the season. Russell's into his windup. Speaker, it's a ground ball to second. He's up with it. Over to first for the out. Good play by Blackburn. 2 up, 2 down. This is a quick 7th inning so far for the Red Sox as Russell will face Duffy Lewis, who is 1 for 3 on the day. 259 hitter. Here's the pitch. He's out. He didn't even move as he takes a called strike 3. We go to the top of the 8th, 5-2 Boston. I hope you're having a good time, Beatles. This has been a lot of fun, this game.
It's a blast. It's a blast, Bernie. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, I think these games are a little bit more fun with 2 people in the booth.
Well, then I've got to return the favor in the next Mathewson game I do or whatever, or going to have you on. Whatever it is, Bernie, just going to have you on to talk baseball.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. As we go to the top of the 8th inning, Collins, Fournier, Bodie due up. Leonard trying to put this team away for his 14th victory of the season. He winds, he fires, and there's a ground ball to short. Scott scoops it up, throws to first, gets him by a couple of steps. 1 up, 1 down, top of the 8th inning. Fournier 2 for 2 on the day. He's had a successful day, batting .352. He's raised his average too with his league-leading 5 home runs. Leonard has had no luck with this guy today. Let's see what happens now. Here's the pitch. There's a bounding ball to first base. He picks it up. Janvin flips it to Leonard for the out, and for the first time today, Fournier is out as Bodie steps to the plate, batting .241, 1 for 2. Leonard gets the sign. He's into his windup. Here's the pitch. Another ground ball to Scott at short. This time they get him by 30 feet at first. He's out. We go to the bottom of the eighth. Boston leads 5-2. Red Sox are one game behind the Philadelphia A's for first place here in the American League pennant race. Red Sox have led most of the season, but they've only won 4 out of the last 6 games, and the A's have won 9 out of 10 to erase their 4-game deficit, and now they have a 1-game lead on the Red Sox. This is the first game of a doubleheader. Don't worry, you guys can go to bed on the East Coast because I'm going to sim the second game. We are not going to call the second game tonight, as Janvrin Gardner and Yerkes are due up in the bottom of the 8th inning. Janvrin 0 for 2, 285. Russell still pitching a good game. He's into his windup. Janvrin hits a fly ball to left. Coming in a little bit, it's the left fielder and puts the ball away for the out. Demet throws it into the infield. 1 down. Larry Gardner having a good day, 2 for 3. He's got an RBI today.
Doug Hunt just came in to say hi.
Thank you for letting me know. Doug,
Absolutely.
Nice to see you. Thank you. We've had a good crowd tonight, Beatles. I think they came to hear you talk.
No, Bernie.
Oh yeah, you're a hero to a lot of people.
No, it's just because I give away free baseball games, which the newest one's posted in Discord, by the way, guys.
I know. I saw you did that, and I was contemplating downloading it, but I was afraid that if I started to download it, something would go wrong with the computer. I wouldn't be able to do the game. So I'm going to do it after the game.
All right.
Reb Russell, 7 in the 3rd innings, 8 hits, only 3 earned runs, a strikeout and 2 walks. He's pitching to Larry Gardner. And here's the pitch. Gardner swings. It's a fly ball to right field. That ball is caught for the out.
That counts,
2 away. Two away, bottom of the 8th inning. Yerkes 2 for 2. RBI on the day. Another hit. He may even get his average up to 200. Russell gets the sign. Here's the pitch. Fly ball in the right field once again, but he's not going to get his 3rd hit of the day. We go to the top of the 9th inning. Red Sox lead 5-2.
Good ball game you got going on here, Bernie.
We've had a bunch of good games lately. We've had a couple of walk-offs the last couple of games. As a matter of fact, we didn't even advertise we were going to do this game, and this game has had a good crowd for late at night. Late at night might be the time to play these games. We have a relief pitcher in. I think that Kerrigan went as long as he was going to go with Leonard. He's going to replace him with you, Bedient. 8-4 on the season, 2.56 ERA. He doesn't pitch relief too often. In 1914, the Red Sox had a lot of pitchers injured, and he did pitch 15 or 20 starts for the Red Sox this season. I don't use him that much. I do play as-played lineups, but every now and then I interfere and put a different pitcher in. Here we go. Bedient will face Ray Schock, the player of the game, Breton, and the number 9 hitter, the pitcher, Russell. Here's the windup and the pitch. And there's a pop-up in the infield. Yerke's under it, calling for it. Puts it away for the out. Chicago is down to their last 2 outs of the game. 1 for 3. Jim Breton is today, a 188 hitter. Bedient throws. And there's a ground ball again to first base. That's been a busy place as he flips it to the pitcher, Bedient, for the out. We're down to the last out, even though the pitcher, Russell, had a hit today, and was hitting about 280. They're going to pinch hit for him. Tom Daly, a 179 hitter. I'm not so sure I'd do that, but I'm sure the computer knows what it's doing. Daly has 12 hits, 67 at-bats for the season. Here's the pitch. And there's a line drive into center field. That ball is over the head of Tris Speaker. I guess the computer knew what it was doing. Daly's going to go into second base. He's going to remain there with a stand-up double. Speaker found the ball this time, throws it in. And the White Sox aren't dead yet. As the top of the order, Joe Berger, 1 for 3, hitting .213, steps in. Daly at second base takes a conservative lead. He doesn't want to take any chances. Obedience pitch. And he strikes out looking. That's the game. Red Sox come onto the field as they congratulate the pitcher for getting the third out of the inning. The game is over. The Red Sox win 5-2. Red Sox 5-8-0. White Sox 2-10-2. And we go to the box score. And as I always do, the Red Sox beat the White Sox 5-2. I read this short little blurb from the AI of Out of the Park Baseball. The Boston Red Sox got a strong performance from pitcher Dutch Leonard, who stymied the Chicago offense en route to a 5-2 win. At Fenway Park, in 8 innings, Leonard surrendered 9 hits while striking out 4, walking 3. He allowed 2 runs. With the victory, the Red Sox upped their record to 47-30. The Red Sox got an important contribution from catcher, they should say manager, Bill Kerrigan, who in the bottom of the 4th punched a full-count fastball into right center for a run-scoring double. It was his 5th double of the season and put the Red Sox ahead 3-1. And Leonard is quoted as saying, "It's nice to come out on top today." As we just glance at the spot score, Fournier was 2 for 3. As we had mentioned earlier, the Red Sox had a couple of players with 2 hits, Gardner and Yerkes. Double plays in the game. Both teams had 1. Russell pitched 8 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 3 of them earned. Struck out 1, walked 2. His ERA is a good 2.69, while Dutch Leonard's now 14-3. 9 hits, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and his ERA went up slightly to 1.22. As we leave the game, let's just head over to the scores here. Are they almost done? Let's see. I hope you enjoyed yourself, Beatles.
I had a great time, and thanks, Mike. Thanks, Gary, saying that we did a fine job. It was a lot of fun. Just doing this, and I'm hoping that I will get to do it again, both in your channel, my channel, and also that other content creators will do it, because it really is fun to get the banter going. So thank you, Bernie. It's awesome. And you call a good game. You call a good game, man.
Well, thank you. Just to go over these scores, let's see what happened. The Red Sox and White Sox game 1, we saw what happened. The Yankees lost to the Cleveland Naps 5-1. Mitchell the winner, Warhop the loser. The game I'm interested in, the Philadelphia Athletics defeated the Detroit Tigers 5-1 in Philly. Plank the winner, now 6-6. And Doss, is that what that says? He's the loser. My eyes are getting tired this late at night. The Browns beat the Senators in Washington 3-2. In the National League, the Brooklyn Robins were defeated by the Reds in Cincinnati 2-1. The Boston Braves defeated the Chicago Cubs 4-3. The Braves have made it all the way to 30-39. We'll have to see where that puts them. They're going to have one hell of a second half of the season to match their effort that they did in real life as the
Well,
Phillies.
right, exactly, because historically that's what they did. They were, as you know, last place in July and went to the World Series. So it could happen. That would be awesome if it did.
I don't think I'd ever erase this file if that happened.
Exactly.
The Phillies defeated the Pirates 4-2 in Pittsburgh, and the New York Giants, who are running away with the National League pennant, defeated the Cardinals. I haven't done this, but I bet if I hit quick play, this game will play instantly, correct?
Yes, it will.
Game there 2. The White Sox defeat the Red Sox 4-2, 4-12-3. The Red Sox 2-5-2. Johnson, the losing pitcher, he's somebody I probably would have replaced, but I deserve this one for quick playing it. Ben's the winner. He's now 11-5. Johnson 3-6. The loser, the Red Sox, and it was in 10 innings. That would have been an exciting game. However, we now have to, now that all the games have been played, the Red Sox are now a game and a half behind the Philadelphia A's as they continue to lose ground, as the A's are on an 8-game winning streak. Cleveland and Chicago are behind the Red Sox, but there's a little distance between them. The Giants, 12.5 game lead. That's going to be tough. The Braves at 6-4, they're going to have to pick up the pace, although I don't know what it's going to do because the Giants are on a 9-game winning streak. Well, that's it for today.
Bernie, I got to leave everybody with a really cool quote here. Has nothing to do with either of the two teams playing, but rather the guy I'm doing a tribute to. And I just found this quote and I love it. So for Christy Mathewson even had an opinion about umpires. So in his famous book, Pinching in a Pinch, he says, or wrote, whatever, many baseball fans look upon an umpire as a sort of necessary evil to the luxury of baseball, like the odor that follows an automobile. So there you go. It's straight from Christy Mathewson. Yep, absolutely. Bernie, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
I think, this attention popped onto the screen, and I was going to sign off, but I'm going to hit this because I think I know what this is. Good morning, Bernie. I'd like to inform you that the following historical transactions were executed today. Today, which is the 9th of July, 1914, the Red Sox purchased Ben Egan from Baltimore. They purchased Babe Ruth from Baltimore, and they purchased Ernie Shore from Baltimore. So if you guys are listening and you want to watch Babe Ruth's Major League debut, Wednesday, I will at 4:30 on Wednesday afternoon be broadcasting Babe Ruth's inaugural Major League debut from Fenway Park.
So you know also that Ernie Shore and Babe Ruth are inextricably linked in the history of baseball. Not just for being purchased at the same time, but it has to do with a no-hitter. So check it out. Read it. It's really a neat story.
I'll check it out. And if you don't tell everybody before 4:30 on Wednesday, I'll announce it at the game.
I'll be working, so I'll have to catch it when I get home that night. So, yeah, check out. It's the Ernie Shore Babe Ruth. So enjoy it.
Well, everybody, thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it. I want everyone to have a nice evening, and we'll see you on Wednesday.